I was lactating everywhere, and I got soft and fat after the cycle. So it goes to show you that those things just make you crash terribly.
His
Yeah.
other question was, what would you all recommend for your first cycle? If you had to repeat your first cycle, what would you change? Dosages and compounds.
I'll let Steve go on first.
Test GH insulin under
Yeah, but
guidance.
how about the doses?
250 test. So for myself or just general answer?
Yourself, your first
Myself.
cycle. If you could redo it yourself.
250 tests, add in the growth hormone, 2 units, couple weeks later, and then add in the insulin.
How much insulin and when?
Post-workout, and then later on add in the long-acting insulin, Lantus, like 1 IU. I can't say according to body weight, right? So 10 units of Lantus upon waking. Yeah, that would be it. Just
So
bioidentical hormones.
How much Humalog post-workout?
5.
Okay, so it's low. All right,
Yeah.
it's crazy that he would actually have insulin on our first cycle.
He likes
so-
bioidentical stuff. That's why.
I like bioidentical stuff because I know how the body responds, right? And with I would say Primo probably is the second anabolic steroid. But all things considering, from all the blood work that I've seen and all the research that I've done, this bioidentical stuff is just the best bang for your buck. And like a combination of test GH and insulin will give you so much more muscle and density and workout capacity compared to throwing in 3 anabolics, right? At moderate doses. And then you have to worry about your hematocrit and your liver enzymes. And yeah, the blood work is not that dramatically changed with GH and insulin, especially if you're able, to stay on top of your diet.
And on that cycle, are you running an anti-estrogen or no?
Probably not. Just daily injections, 30 milligrams a day, 35. I've had several clients who they come to me and they're very dedicated, right? They're full-time bodybuilders, but they haven't taken steroids yet. Test, couple weeks, GH if they can afford it, and then insulin, and they blow the fuck up, And they're like, I want to do men's physique, and then they end up being a bodybuilder.
Oh well, if I could go all the way back, I started gear at 17. Yeah. So I doubt if Steve started his cycle at 17, he would be running
26.
Insulin,
yeah.
So my first cycle, if I could do it all over again, would be 250 mgs of testosterone twice a week. So 500 mgs total with a half meg of Arimidex every other day. That's it.
And
I would ride that out as long as I could.
Okay, that's a similar thought process. So for me, I first started getting to steroids when I was 15 or 16 years old. But the problem is that I decided not to use them a couple of things happened. Number one, I was like, maybe I'll use them later, because I got scared off a little bit. The second thing was I went to a hospital and x-rayed my growth plates to figure out if I could grow taller if I used growth hormone when I was 15, by the way. This is no joke. Like 2002, I did this. But they told me my growth plates were closed. They were wrong. I realize now I could have grown a little bit taller. So if I were to go back and knowing what I know now, I was scared before that the steroids would stop me from growing. That's one of the main reasons I stopped. They wouldn't have done that. So what I would have done if I could go back is go on HCG and FSH, go on a strong AI, and take Anavar and potentially growth hormone. Anavar I would ride out for as long as I could before I stopped getting gains. Because Anavar,
there's going to be like 1,000 kids copying this protocol.
No, I would not tell kids to do this, but I would have done this. If I could go back, I personally would have done this. Right. By the way, the dangers...
I'm so glad you said that. So you would have took gear at 15, right?
I would have taken gear at 16 if I went back now.
Yeah, I think 15, 16...
Much better time. You grow them best. I would have had way better results because.
All right, let's put a question in for let's say Steven, let's say you had a kid that was 15 years old. Okay, you see that he has sick genetics. Like this kid is fucking sick, and he was in bodybuilding. He wanted to compete. He was at that level. You're like, this kid could do this for his life. Like it would set him up. Would you let him take anabolics at 15?
No. No, hell no. No, because my wife has pretty good genetics, right? And then I don't have so good at least my structure is not so good. So let's say that our kids get the best of all worlds and they have amazing shape and amazing response to pharmaceuticals, right? I would still tell them to wait until at least 21. Build the foundation, as corny as it sounds, build that foundation first and develop yourself as a person, because for 99% of the people, bodybuilding is not going to pay off. It's not going to pay off.
Well,
And
that was the debate that one of my friends had with me. It's like if you knew your kid was destined to be something special in sports or whatever it was, would you let him supplement at a young age? And I'm not going to answer this on here because I'm going to get a lot of heat, but it's a very good question.
Bostin, I'll answer it. I would be Chad Nichols if that happened.
Yeah.
I would be doing what Chad Nichols is doing.
I was just going to go there.
Well,
I would put him on like non-suppressive compounds like a testosterone or steroids and just get as far as possible without downregulating the HPTA, because I do think that it's important during puberty and later stages,
Can't downregulate if you got FSH and HCG.
How about you get something like DHEA would help?
Huh?
Sorry?
DHEA. You think it would help a kid?
No, only girls usually.
Yeah,
I don't know.
girls.
Maybe it's a kid if it's young. It could be. There's no trials on kids, right, Steve? I haven't seen any with DHEA.
No, not that I know. I would maybe supplement a little bit of GHRP6. Get the kid to eat and consider testosterone as a non-suppressive anabolic, and just optimize everything else. And then when they've really earned it under my supervision, and I'm very scrutinous, then I would say, okay, now you can, jump on test and the GH and the lens, and I'll pay for everything. And I'll guide them through it. And the first sign they start bitching and say, oh, the water retention, I'm getting watery, and the girls don't find me attractive. You're off. You're going to do PCT.
You guys remember Little Hercules?
Yeah. Pro hormones.
Check this out. So this is crazy because I used to guest pose for bodybuilding when I was 6 years old. And we were around the same age. He might have been a year older than me. His name was Richard. And he came into the gym that my parents used to own one day. And dude, this kid was I used to get a lot of attention back then because I was guest posing and shit like that. And this kid came out of nowhere, same age as me, but just crazy muscular, like that nobody's ever seen muscularity on a kid like this. And the parents were claiming natural. They were telling my parents, my kid. So anyways, I don't know if you know, but that the guy, his dad ended up going to jail. He got busted for giving his kid steroids.
No way. It turned out.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So he ended up going to jail. They had a documentary on it and everything, Leo.
Wait, no.
And the kid now has gyno. Dude, he's fat. It's crazy. The kid is just so out of shape now. It's insane. His name is Richard something. Yeah.
Because if you do that to a child without HCG, FSH, stuff like that, and even if it's a child with HCG, FSH, you're going to destroy. If it's child, you're going to destroy them because you could use growth hormone, but you can't use androgen.
Oh, he was on anabolics.
Yeah, that'll screw him up.
Yeah, pro hormones probably just tablets. I don't think you said it's a multivitamins. Go take it.
They said it was Anavar.
Oh my God, he looked like he was on some Anavar. That guy's abs were crazy. For sure.
They said it was Anavar.
And what the weird is, like when I went to school, there were like always like 15 or 16-year-olds that would take oral only cycles, right? And it would blow up, it would be huge, a little bit balloony. And then you meet them like 5 years, 10 years later at some reunion party, and they look like nothing. They didn't go through with it. So that's why I'm always a little bit hesitant to start early. If you form yourself as an individual, like Bostin, I'm sure you know some guys that started around your age and they're nowhere to be found in the fitness industry.
Well, that was kind of like me, man. When I was like 17, I was taking the pro hormones, the Mdrol, the Xtane, the Competitive Edge Labs. And everyone was like, holy shit, dude, to this day, this is the strongest stuff I've ever used. Stronger than any steroid I've ever used. And like my bench went up 70 pounds in 3 weeks. But dude, the minute you come off that shit, first of all, I was lactating everywhere.
I remember when you were lactating.
I was lactating everywhere, and I got soft and fat after the cycle. So it goes to show you that those things just make you crash terribly.
Wait, Steve, have you ever lactated?
Allegedly.
Me too, but not as bad as Bostin. Mine was a little bit.
Not where it squirts out, but I've had like periods when I was running Trimbalone, and I was like, why are my nipples so puffy? And you squeeze it a little bit, and all this brown goo. Brown fucking goo comes out, and you're like,
yeah,
okay,
it's like
I gotta.
Dark green.
Right, it's nasty, right? And then you milk it, and it's gone.
It smells nasty.
Yeah, right. And you milk it, and I have to say this: you milk it, right? And then 4 weeks later, it comes back. And you have to do it again. And now, so, and then sometimes I check if that's still occurring. But luckily, after my last trend cycle, 6 years ago. Yeah, it hasn't happened again.
Bostin, Steve still has not had his glands removed, so he's actually under threat of this could happen again to you.
Right.
Thankfully,
but I'm going to stick to
Bro, it's the best. It's the best surgery.
He could probably get fucking his glands removed for like $1,000 in Thailand.
It's such a fun surgery. Like it's the best surgery.
$2,200. Yeah, $2,200.
It's so worth it.
And I don't want to have the 8-week down period, which I should have done, at the fasting mimicking diet.
I was training 4 days later.
What?
Really?
I was out for like 4 months. I lost all my muscle.
They told me to wait 4 weeks, but I started 4 days later.
You serious?
Yeah, I should have.
I was doing lat pull downs, and I pulled out Stitch.
Yeah, I could barely move my arm up. I don't know how you could do a lat pull down. Mine was stuck, like the muscle got stuck.
I was doing half reps like this, and I actually I pulled a stitch out.
So dedicated.
And it started lactating and bleeding from the nipple.
Yeah, but no, hey, I tell you what though, when they end up removing your gland, you never lactate again.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
No. Mm-hmm.
Nothing can happen.
I used to squirt like 10 feet. Like I couldn't do shit after the surgery.
But if I ever do the surgery, I will let them grow, So I'm going to go and test the nandrolone and anadrol and just grow all the tissue so they don't miss anything.
That's actually not a bad idea, by the way. That's actually not
I put that in the estrogen ebook. I have several clients who did that. I have a Gynecomastia, and it said test the nandrolone and anadrol, grow everything, and then the surgeon doesn't miss anything.
It's true. They do miss sometimes. Yeah.
It's like a huge ball, and they get it all removed, and it looks beautiful a couple months later.
That's why you got to go to a good surgeon, though, Leo, because there's so many surgeons that don't get the gland, and it comes right back.
The best one is actually Newport Beach. That's the guy I went to. He's extremely good. He's better than that guy on the East Coast.
There's one here in
all the pro bodybuilders that went to the guy that I went to, Dr. Blau.
You like Blau? He's old, I heard, and he messes. You know who told me that though, Nick? I don't know if it's true. Does he really mess people up? Is it?
I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, everyone goes to him.
The guy here, I forgot his name, but he's fantastic. He only does gynecomastia surgeries in Newport Beach. He's unbelievable. He's very expensive, like $15,000, more than Blau, I think, but he's very, very good. Listen,
I only paid $6,000 cash back then, and it was going to be $9,000 if I wanted to go fully under. I said no, I'm going to save the $3,000 and just.
It's better not to go fully under. But then you wake up in the middle and you feel somebody like ripping over.
They gave you footballs to squeeze.
I woke up and I was like,
balls.
what the fuck? This is still happening? Like I'm awake.
You feel the tugging.
Yeah, the tugging, man. Oh, that's so funny.